What is up, guys? Senator coming back at you with another tier list video. Now, you may have noticed a few days ago I posted a video that was for the defenders. Today we're going to be focusing on the attackers. And the reason that I've really separated this tier list into two separate videos is because one, there are a lot of operators, and two, I would rather make two 15-minute long videos where it gets more retention than one 30-minute long video, because regardless of the content, it's hard to, sit down and watch a 30-minute video. So I'd rather break it up into two videos where I get to talk about the ops more than try to just rush through and make a 30-minute long video into as short as video as possible, if that makes sense. So anyways, before I dive into this, let me say this again like I did my defender video, which you can click on the card in the right-hand corner if you haven't watched that yet, or you can wait to the end, doesn't matter. But whenever I do these tier lists, I'm looking at it from the perspective of someone who's the average Siege player. I'm not looking at high plat, I'm not looking at bronze, I'm looking at that player who, is like a gold 2, gold 3, in the middle of the road, just the median player, if that makes sense. So, to start off, of course I have all the defenders here because I already ranked them. I probably should have left them where they were, but no, that forces you to go watch the other video, so go watch that. Let's start off with Ace. Ace, I think, is an S tier operator. I think he is the best hard breacher we got. Some could easily make the case for maybe Maverick because he doesn't have a counter. But to me, Ace easily takes that position. The only person who may be better than him in some fields would be Habana, because she can get 3 hatches. But overall, I think he's S considering his kit. He's got smoke grenades. He's got the AK-12, which is one of the best in the game. Overall, great operator. The only complaint I really have about him is this hole that he makes isn't as big as Thermite, and he's easier to impact trick. But other than that, S tier operator. He's an operator that I'm always happy to see being brought. And whenever I put an operator in S tier, really what I mean when I put him in S tier is I expect these operators to always be brought, if that makes sense. So S tier easily goes to Ace. Also S tier, if Jackal isn't banned, bring Jackal. Jackal is a must for most maps. Some maps you can get by without picking a Jackal, but most of the time you got to get that roam clear, and having a Jackal makes it so much easier. If Jackal's on the board, have him come in as that flex roll. He does amazing. S tier operator, no doubt in my mind. Twitch, I think, is a B tier operator. Before the introduction of Sam Fisher, I think she would have been A, but Sam Fisher does what Twitch does, but so much better, so much more convenient. Instead of wasting your drones to go in and get rid of batteries or whatever devices you need to get rid of, you won't have to waste a drone, and it's easier, more convenient to do it with the Sam Fisher. And speaking of Sam Fisher, I'm gonna go put him in A. I don't think he's an S tier operator. He's not a must pick in my opinion. However, it's nice to bring him along. I won't complain if nobody brings him, is basically what I mean when I put him in A tier. Thatcher. A lot of y'all may not like this, but I'm putting him in A tier simply because he does not destroy gadgets anymore. I think that was the best thing about him, was that he could destroy gadgets. He's still probably the most banned attacker, but the fact that he just disables them for a few seconds isn't a must in my opinion. Is he a great operator? Yeah, I think he should always be brought, but he's not as good as he was, and you can still have some more viable options in there. Glaz, D tier. I don't think that really needs explaining. Dokkaebi, I'm gonna put Dokkaebi in B tier. I think you pick Dokkaebi whenever you don't have a Jackal on the board, or you don't have anybody really wanting to play a Nomad to help with that roam clear and flank watch. So I put her in B tier simply because of her low fragging potential, but her calls can be insanely great with a well-coordinated team. Middle of the road, she's not an operator that I'm always asking for, because again, I'd rather have a Jackal fill that roam clear role, but again, she's not a bad operator. Habana is an S tier operator. No one else can get 3 hatches, and she now has more versatility with her ability to create murder holes by putting 2 X-Kairos or 4 X-Kairos or 6 X-Kairos on a wall, which is insane. Gives her a lot more options. Type 89 is a fantastic weapon. Some may even call, I think I've even called for her to get a bigger magazine capacity on that, but looking at her gadget now, her ability, her Type 89, her Bearing 9, which is one of my favorite weapons in the game as a secondary, I think she's insanely strong. As of right now, she's an S tier operator, no doubt. Blitz, D tier. Whenever I see a Blitz, it's like, okay, this should be a free kill. Like, he's never a problem, especially when you have Legion always being brought. Capitao, I'm gonna let on Capitao. I'm gonna see how everything else pans out. Blackbeard, C tier operator. The only time I can ever recommend using Blackbeard outside of, a strat that involves, having Blackbeard would be if you're playing Coastline. Coastline's a map that is just so frag heavy, doesn't really take any what should I say, tactical operators. You're not trying to get open walls. You're not trying to clear out utility. Basically, that map is just a team deathmatch, and so I could only see him being useful on that map. Other than that, he provides little to no utility at all. So C tier for him. Thermite is going in A tier, and I can hear you shrieking already. But the reason he's not in S tier is because the only thing that he does better than Ace is he makes a bigger hole. And to me, that is not enough. When you have Ace who can open up 3 holes that you can vault through, that's strong. And he can also get this, and Ace and Thermite can also get the, one wall and go get a hatch. And he has more fragging potential than Thermite. So I can't really, think of a reason as to why I should put Thermite in S tier. He's an operator that has to go up to the wall to, detonate his charge, whereas Ace and Habana, they can do it from a distance. And that's the same reason I'm going to put Maverick there too. Maverick is a fantastic operator. He has a big learning curve, but overall, fantastic operator, doesn't have a counter, has a grenades. But again, whenever you're trying to get a wall open with a Maverick, you are extremely exposed to nitrocells as well as runouts. Great operator, but I don't see him as a must pick. A tier. Coming over to Nomad. Nomad, in my mind, is without a doubt an S tier operator. She's an operator that if you're pretty weak on your roam clearing game, she's an operator that you need to be bringing. If you're not bringing a Jackal and you're not going to focus too heavily on roam clearing, you definitely need to have a Nomad. She's the best operator for watching flanks. Her kit isn't insane. I'm not a fan of it. Other people are. Other people like the AK. I'm not sure. She has the AK-74. I'm not sure what kind of AK she has. An AK as well as the ARX. I mean, not the best kit, but her ability is so strong. Especially if you're someone who likes to solo queue and you can't really rely on your teammates to hold your flanks down or watch your flank drones. She's a fantastic operator for solo queue operators as well as a coordinated stack. She is a must pick. I always welcome her to be brought. Knock C tier. The only thing Knock really has going for her is her grenades. She's a fun operator to play. I really enjoy rushing with her, but she doesn't provide a ton of utility to the team, and I would rather have a better fragger. I'd rather have an Ash or a Zofia to play that fragging role, because again, she has the FMG9, which isn't bad, but if we're going to have an attacker, I'd rather have a rifle. Okay, next we have Ash. And Ash, in my mind, is an A tier operator. I know she's better since she has the extra breaching round. But honestly, she's great for people who can just go in and frag out. If you have godly aim, sure, pick an Ash. But most of the time, I would rather have an operator like Zofia, who is an S tier operator. The only major difference between these two, other than their speed, is Ash has that extra breaching round, but I would much rather have that concussion round that Zofia has, which is great for both, concussing the defenders, as well as a way to really, see what's in a room before you go in. She has an ACOG on her primary. Of course, Ash does, but if you're going to play Ash, you need to be playing the R4C. So, I mean, a lot of people may not like that. A lot of people may think Ash is better. I really can't think of a reason other than, if you really need that extra breaching round. But if you're playing as the frag operator, it's got to be concussion grenades for me that makes the biggest difference. Gridlock, I've given her a lot of praise, but I think she is too situational to be an A or an S. I'm putting her in B, and the reason I think she's too situational is because she is only really good when it comes to, post plant. Of course, she can use her tracks to watch the flanks, but those are easier to navigate around than, say, a Nomad air jab. Sledge is an S tier operator. He is the best operator when it comes to vertical play. Some could, make the argument for Buck. I don't think Buck is as strong, especially since he doesn't have his frag grenades anymore. They also got rid of his ACOG on his primary weapon. I would much rather have a Buck who's better when it comes to, playing vertical from the top, whereas Buck is better from playing vertical from the bottom. But I would much rather have a Sledge simply just because of his frag grenades. I'm going to put Buck in A tier because, again, these guys are so similar. The only big difference, the only reason that I see Sledge better than Buck is the frag grenades. Other than that, Buck is a solid operator who, I wish they hadn't gotten rid of his frag grenades, but that's where we are. But he's not a bad operator. Don't think just because I'm not putting him as they're bad operators. Again, these operators below an S are operators that, are more situational, whereas I see an S tier operator as an operator that I expect to be brought. Capitao. I'm going to put Capitao in B. For me, he's a little bit too situational. He has a little bit more versatility with the ability to do a hard breach. He has the new hard breaching gadget. But other than that, looking at the average player, I think he's B. If he's in, plat and above, he could be an S or an A. You can make the argument there. Looking at, silver and below, silver, bronze, copper, whatever, he would be, a C or a D. No, it wouldn't be a D. He'd probably be a C or a B. But just, comparing it to everyone on the list, looking at the average player, I think B is where he belongs. Okay, now looking at Amaru. I gotta put her in C tier just because the only thing she really has going for her is the G8. Other than that, her ability is just way too situational. You could have a strat that revolves around her. That's fantastic. But in general, the average ranked experience, she is a C tier operator. If you have an argument as for why she should be higher than C, let me know, because honestly, I don't see her, being as important to the round as a whole as in any of these B tier operators, and especially, above B tier. Callie. A tier. She, you could make the argument for C, but I'm putting her in A just because of, bolt action rifle, one hitter quitter, you down them instantly. A very useful ability, especially when you always have Thatcher being banned. It's always great to have that lance. And her secondary, the SP SMG9, is... I did a video about it whenever they gave it to her. It has like the same fire rate as the Roni. I think she's an A tier operator. Not everybody can use that bolt action rifle effectively. But looking at her utility, as well as her ability to get frags with, which whipping out that secondary if you suck with the bolt action rifle. Okay, next we got Yana. Yana's B tier. I don't honestly have a great explanation. Her ability's great for just droning in. I mean, she's basically just a human drone. Which, don't get me wrong, that's important, but having an entire ability dedicated to that, and it's not like you're ever really, bamboozled by her Gemini. So, B tier for me. Monty, I'm putting Monty in B tier as well, pretty much for the same reason I put, Clash and them others in C. The only reason not in C is because I don't see him on the same level as these guys, but I do see him sort of on the level as these guys, is because his ability to be effective and around is dependent not on his ability, but how well the player can use them. Lion, C tier. Pause one moment. Most of you guys have no idea how to play Lion. You just randomly use his drone, and that's the most annoying thing in the world, because I'll be droning out and then you start scanning. You never really try to coordinate with your team. Just tell them, hey, I'm about to scan in 3 seconds, and that lets everybody know, okay, we can push in then. Just randomly doing your drone isn't helping anyone. It just more so just makes your teammates rush, because they only have a limited amount of time to really push into sight whenever the defenders can be detected. But overall, he's really situational. You have to have a strat plan around him. Fink, I'm going to go ahead and put her in the same boat. They're just really similar in terms of having a global ability that requires coordination, but it's not the best. The most useful thing I see with Finka is her ability to pick up a down teammate from across the map. Fuse. Fuse is a B tier operator now. He would be an A tier if he was like a 2-speed, but you know, he's great for clearing utility. He can now open up patches with his new secondary breach. A lot better than he used to be since he has 4 cluster charges now. Again, he's a risk to bring because he's just such a chunky boy, but he does have potential. So B tier. Ying, I'm gonna put Ying in. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll put her in B tier. She's best for just, you know, clearing out ADSs and wamai magnets. But in the occasion that her Candles do go off, she's great. So I'll give her that. Okay, lastly we have IQ, and I'm gonna put IQ in A tier. When you look at the current state of the game, you look at, you know, Jager after he got moved down to a 2-speed. I think Vigil is now the most popular roamer, and that makes sense. And having an operator that completely counters the most popular roamer is a big deal. Also, the ability to counter a pulse. If you know anything about like attacking, you know, hookah on coastline or attacking statue on villa, you gotta clear out that pulse from underneath, or you can't really do anything. And having an operator like that is amazing. Also, the ability to go under and just get any electronics, to wall bang the electronics, amazing. And she has the G8 as well as other rifle options, the AUG as well as the Commando. So a lot of versatility there. If you don't like one, you can move on to another. I think she's the only attacker that has 3 primary weapons other than Fuse, who has the shield. But fantastic operator. I can sleep well not putting her in A. She's not an operator that I'm always asking for, but again, if she's brought, I'm not complaining. Great pick. Okay, that is my attacker tier list for Operation Neon Dawn. Let me know what you think down below. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? And if you see something that you think I did completely wrong, I put someone too high or too low, or there's too many people in S tier or A tier, let me know what you think. A lot of times you're able to change my mind and make me think about the operators in a different light. So, you know, try to convince me and persuade me to, you know, think that an operator that I put too low should be higher, or vice versa. And so that's it. Make sure to go check out my Defender tier list video where I talk about Aruni and get to see where Aruni gets picked. A lot of times when I do these videos, they don't change very much. But you know, this season I've changed a lot of opinions on my operator picks. And so go check that out in the Defender video. And so that about does it for the day. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. And as always, have a good one.